I think that if you couldn't really put it together already, I'm gonna put it together for you here now. But vegans and veganism and the plant based diet is going to screw you over in the new coming age of air, which is ozone based. So I'm just gonna go into the reasons of why. I'm not gonna necessarily go into the how because I've already talked a lot about that in previous videos, but we I've already shown you that ozone is significantly higher last year than it was in 2019. So it raised about 3 to 400% in some parts of the world, even though driving habits went down 40 to 60%. So driving habits went down 40 to 60%, carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide, which are true air pollutants that are emitted from combustion of carbon products in cars, went down 40 to 60% retrospectively because driving went down during the pandemic, but ozone went up almost 300% in some parts of the world. In all of the world, it went up more than 100%. And what's significant about that also is that it went up in the busiest cities. So, interesting. Anyway, ozone is higher. That's my fact number one. Fact number two, ozone selectively kills off RNA that is genetically differentiated from DNA that is not modified at all. So the basic rule of life is that DNA makes RNA, which makes your genes. So genes, which are your physical traits and mental traits, are expressed from your RNA. Everybody pretty much has the same DNA, but the difference between me and a banana, which pretty much share the same DNA, is that a banana chooses to express its RNA in a yellow oblong shape that is a fruit, and my RNA chooses to express itself in a two-eyed, one-mouthed, two-armed human with legs. I have legs too. So the DNA is pretty much the same for everybody. It's just the RNA that is chosen to be expressed, which make up your genes. Your RNA changes your whole life over all types of stressors. So it's the food you eat, the type of relationships you're in, the type of home life you had as a child, the sun you get, the amount of time you spend in front of a computer. All of these things change the way that your RNA is expressed from your DNA. So with that in mind, I can tell you that I also found research and proved in my previous videos that cholesterol protects your RNA from ozone exposure damage. So ozone causes mutations or it causes death, and it either chooses to kill you or cause mutations and let you live based on an unknown factor that I have not been able to find yet. And I showed that on previous studies about that I found about ozone changing people and plants and animals. And there hasn't been any controlled human studies, but I did go over a big old pile of 30-something studies in my Science Study Decode number 4, if you are interested, if anybody gives a fuck. Anyway, cholesterol protects your RNA from ozone exposure. Cholesterol is only from animal products and it is not from plant products at all. There's no cholesterol in any plant ever. It's only in animal products. And you can only have a higher cholesterol level based on the amount of cholesterol that you eat, the amount of animal products that you eat. It is arguable and has been proven many times over that cholesterol does not equate to heart issues and artery clogs. It actually is more caused from caloric intake, sugar intake, and carbs. It has nothing to do with cholesterol. It has been proven many times over, and I'm not going to say it now because you can look it up on YouTube. You have eyes and a keyboard. So the vegan propaganda and low cholesterol bullshit, I'm pretty sure it was all added up to now, which is a higher ozone level. People were perpetuating this idea that you needed to have a low cholesterol and and giving people statins that don't need to take them. Just when they reach a certain age, they take cholesterol-lowering drugs. They don't even have a high cholesterol, and they naturally give everybody statin drugs, and they perpetuate eating plant oils and plant foods as opposed to animal foods because they want people to have a lower cholesterol, which in turn will make people not have the proper mutations to survive in a higher ozone environment. And mutations that would make people survive in a higher ozone environment include things that would pretty much make you, it would be considered superhuman in a higher oxygen environment, because ozone that is continually made will be continually broken down into O2, which would result in a higher oxygen environment. Higher ozone means that the air would be more conductive, and that you'd be able to get energy from the air. Anyway, that's irrelevant. I'm talking about veganism here. I believe that the veganism propaganda and the veganism diet, low cholesterol diet, statin drugs, and plant oil push has been it's been preparation for right now. I also think that the whole pandemic crap jab push has been for making it so that people live through this time of a higher ozone environment but don't actually mutate. So they keep the world exactly the same, and they make sure that people are just as stupid and can't think for themselves as they've always been. And ozone in a higher oxygen level in the air would make it so that you are able to have a lot of things. Look up hyperbaric chamber and see what it can do for people. It can do things like maybe make people run faster without having to take a breath. You could eat with longer periods in between eating and not have to eat as often. You would have a constant supply of fresh water and fresh dirt to plant in. You would have a temperate climate that would be the same throughout the world, and it would not be affected by where you lived in the world or by the seasons. It would be a constant 70-ish degrees with a constant humidity everywhere in the world. And you wouldn't be affected by snake bites or spider bites, and etc., etc. You can look it up yourself. And this is in harmony with indigenous diets as well. Indigenous diets were close to perfection because they survived for so long without needing any help with their teeth or their organs, or with having issues with aging properly. These people didn't have any issues to deal with. They didn't require hospitals or extensive medications. They were able to heal themselves through their mind, their spirit, and through plants. Plants are medicine. They are not food. So considering that ozone causes mutations, considering that cholesterol protects your RNA from killing you, and it protects your RNA to enable mutations as opposed to just straight up death and you dying, considering that cholesterol protects you and would enable you to live through a higher ozone environment, I can say that I believe that the whole fairy tale creatures and all of the giants and other species and hybrid mutation creatures like griffins and all that, I'm pretty damn sure that they existed at one point, and that's why they feel so familiar to us whenever we watch movies of them, and we feel like they're memories, because they are memories of your old lifetimes. They used to exist because of mutations from ozone exposure before switching ages. So, and continuing into this age of air that people were all moving into. With the higher ozone, there is different RNA that is chosen to express itself from everybody's DNA, and mutations occur. This is why in old manuscripts you can see a lot of weird-ass mutation animals and human hybrids with animals, because they were not just all saying exactly the same type of animals everywhere in the world. They were actually saying what they saw. They weren't just making up the same story everywhere all the way across the world about the same type of animal. And let's see. Remember Shrek? Remember the movie Shrek? You know how they were it was pretty much illegal to be a humanoid or a mutated animal or anything that had magic. It was illegal, and they were confiscating any creatures that were like that. And I think that that happened as we changed into this age from the old age. I don't think that those things just died off. I think that they were made illegal, made less than human, and then people were rewarded for owning these creatures and getting them taken away. And you know what's just like that? It's just like the free energy rocks called plutonium and uranium that are everywhere in the world right now that we can harvest for free and have free energy. It sounds just like that. Because now, if you're in possession of any of them, or if you know someone in possession of it, you can get it confiscated and and the government takes it from you because they deemed it not safe for you to have. So I think that these fairy tale creatures used to exist. They were confiscated and made less than human, classified as dangerous, and taken away. And that's how we ended up in this age where all these things just seem like they never even existed. But even though we watch these movies, we have dreams about them. These dreams that we have about these creatures, they're not just dreams and made up creatures. The movies that we see, they're made and put out there into our consciousness so that we have an excuse for remembering these creatures. So when we remember a unicorn and have a dream about a unicorn, we imagine that we just saw a unicorn in a movie and that's why we have a dream about a unicorn, but it's not. It's because it's a memory. But here you are thinking it was just a movie. Yep, sorry, I have some notes here. RNA changes cause physical gene modifications. Ozone changes people, and ozone causes physical mutations, and that's why they are giving people jabs, because they want everyone to stay exactly the way they are. Everyone is perfectly stupid and believes everything that everybody tells them. If I was vegan and I wanted to defend my diet, I would say, but the dieta, when you take ayahuasca, the shamans and Buddhists have to take vows to be vegetarian, not have sex, and not go in the sun. They're not allowed to go in the rain. Did you know that? That's a part of the dieta. You're not allowed to eat meat. You can eat fish though, so you're not totally vegan. All of these things that you're supposed to do, and that's how you reach higher consciousness. No, it's not about that. It is not about being vegan. It's not about not killing animals or not eating life. It is because plants are arguably more intelligent than animals. That's a different video. But it is because of sacrifice and surrender. It has nothing to do. You are missing the point of the whole idea of why spiritual people, true spiritual people that dedicate their lives to spiritualism, why they give up these things. It's surrender and sacrifice. I lived with Buddhists for a very long time as a Buddhist, and I've had a lot of exposure to these things. These people still eat meat. I don't think you understand that. Buddhists still eat meat. They primarily don't. They go through periods of not, but they also do it. It's not their whole life that's dedicated to being vegetarian. People from India, they have different reasons for doing it, and that is a whole other story, but it is not about not killing animals. It is about surrender. People from India still eat cheese and milk, though, so that's irrelevant. But considering that people tell me that people should be vegan their whole life for to have a better spiritual connection is bullshit, because you can't say that having sex would be able to be good for humanity. So, like, my point is that they tell people on the dieta for ayahuasca, shamans that are training to be ayahuasqueros, they are not allowed to have sex, okay? So you can't say that someone's not allowed to have sex. Everyone is not allowed to have sex. and say that that is good for humanity. How are you going to perpetuate your humanness? You can't make more humans and make a population of humans if you are not allowed to have sex. There are certain people that are deemed to be able to do this, and the majority of people are not, because they need to perpetuate the human race. They can't You cannot say that everyone needs to be this way for their whole life. Not even iOS ghettos are on this diet for their whole life. Okay, so that's about all I have to say about that. Let me look at my notes really quick. It is not conducive to your growth as a human on Earth, going into the next age, being a vegan because you need cholesterol to protect your RNA from killing you. And I've already made that point in other videos indirectly. I thought that being indirect was enough, but I see that people are not really understanding what I'm talking about, so I am being direct. You need cholesterol to protect your cells so that you don't fucking die when you are exposed to ozone, because there's more ozone in the world, and ozone kills you based off of your RNA that is selectively, for some reason, our ozone chooses to selectively kill some people over others because of their RNA that's expressed. So cholesterol protects your RNA from ozone exposure. That's all I gotta say. And you cannot get cholesterol from plants. And that's it. My brain is not really working today because I've already made this video like 3 times. And I made it on my phone to have the camera, and it wouldn't allow me to put it on my computer from my phone, which is really stupid and annoying. So until I can figure that out, I'm just gonna make videos like this where I'm talking. And I'm tired of talking about the same thing 3 times in a row today. I've already been talking all day at work. Yep.